On August 9th around 1:50 p.m., an explosion occurred on a cargo ship at Ningbo Zhoushan Port. It has been reported that the explosion was caused by a container carrying dangerous goods on the ship. Video footage shows white smoke emerging from the ship, followed by a massive explosion that engulfed the entire vessel in flames. Containers were blown apart with debris scattered in all directions, and a large object was hurled into the sky. A massive mushroom cloud formed above the ship, with thick smoke rising into the sky, creating a terrifying scene reminiscent of a disaster movie. Another video shows firefighters spraying water on the charred vessel as thick black smoke billows into the sky. According to reports, an employee at a business located about a kilometer from the explosion site said the shockwave from the blast caused damage to the windows and the collapse of part of the company's cafeteria ceiling. A merchant located 1.5 kilometers away from the site initially thought it was an earthquake due to the intense shaking. The ship involved belongs to Yangming Marine Transport Corporation, a renowned Taiwanese shipping company. The vessel, en route from Shanghai to the Middle East, was making a stop in Beilun Port in Ningbo Zhoushan Province when the explosion unexpectedly occurred. How did the explosion happen? Around 4 p.m. on the day of the incident, Zhuhai, a crew member on the ship, told reporters that one of the containers held 16 tons of peroxides, classified as dangerous goods under Category 5.2. Zhuhai stated that after the explosion, the shipping company immediately contacted the cargo owner. Another crew member, Lo Chen, recalled the incident. At around 1:30 p.m. on August 9th, Lo was patrolling the deck and, when he was about 10 meters from the container in question, he noticed a strong acidic smell in the air. Upon inspecting the nearby containers, he discovered a transparent liquid dripping from the bottom of a white DG container, which is designated for transporting hazardous materials. The liquid was accompanied by a small amount of white smoke. About 3 minutes later, the container began emitting a metallic grinding noise. The amount of leaking liquid increased, and the smoke became thicker. Liu immediately reported the situation to the ship's leadership and evacuated all port workers and crew members from the deck. Zhuhai mentioned that he had transported Category 5.2 dangerous goods multiple times, but had never encountered such a situation before, describing it as an unprecedented and unexpected event. He speculated that the explosion could have been caused by two factors: the hot weather and the inadequate packaging of the goods in the container, stating that the cargo owner might not have properly classified the goods. Zhuhai further explained that not all Category 5.2 dangerous goods require refrigeration during transport. This depends on the classification level declared for the cargo. The fact that the container was not refrigerated indicated that its declared level did not require such precautions. As for the exact cause of the incident, authorities have stated that an investigation is ongoing. Industry experts suggest that the explosion may have been triggered by safety hazards within the container, such as flammable or dangerous materials, which might have been subjected to impact or friction during loading and unloading. Weather conditions and equipment issues may have also contributed to the accident. Yangming Marine Transport Corporation reported that the explosion involved a container carrying dangerous goods on the ship. As of this reporting, all dock workers and crew members are safe, with no casualties reported. This Yangming container ship, built in 2011, has a capacity of 6,589 TEUs, 20-foot equivalent units. Public records show that Yangming Marine Transport Corporation, founded in December 1972, specializes in container shipping and operates routes across Asia, Europe, the Americas, Australia, and Africa. As of July 2024, the company owns 94 operational vessels, primarily container ships. The news has also caused concern among cross-border trade circles in China. Some Middle Eastern freight forwarders are worried about the fate of their cargo on the affected container ship, fearing collateral damage from the explosion. Others are concerned that the incident may impact other container ships at Zhoushan Port. Some freight forwarders are also anxious about increased export inspection rates and have warned sellers to ensure accurate cargo declarations to avoid false, misleading, or incomplete reporting. Ningbo Zhoushan Port is one of the world's largest ports in terms of cargo throughput. It serves as China's largest transshipment base for iron ore and crude oil and is also a key storage and transportation hub for liquid chemicals, coal, and grain in the eastern region of the country. In China, industrial accidents are frequent due to insufficient safety training and lax regulations. Industry experts have suggested that as one of China's main port hubs, Ningbo Zhoushan Port should prioritize safety management at port facilities and transport hubs. They recommend stricter standards and regulations for the transport and storage of flammable, explosive, and dangerous goods, enhance equipment maintenance to ensure proper operation, and improved safety education and training for personnel. In the past 10 days, China has witnessed a series of fires and explosions, with 11 incidents reported. The lack of safety measures, including unlicensed welding, unsafe site conditions, and the storage of large amounts of flammable materials, has exposed issues such as inadequate approval processes and a lack of on-site supervision. Despite the frequent occurrence of disasters, authorities have actively suppressed information. The public remains unaware of the causes, casualties, and damage, leading to skepticism about the transparency of official information. On the evening of August 11, a fire broke out at a shop near Xinqiao neighborhood in Dangtou County in Anhui Province, resulting in a massive fireball. It's going to explode! Video capture of the explosion shows a mushroom cloud rising into the sky. Around 10 p.m. on August 9, a fire erupted at an electric vehicle factory in Guangzhou. Within just a few minutes, the fire had spread uncontrollably, with over 10 workers desperately trying to extinguish it, but their efforts were in vain, and they all had to evacuate. The fire broke out in a factory that produces plastic shells for electric vehicles, housed in a single-story building with a tin roof. The building covered an area of approximately 2,000 square meters, with the fire affecting about 300 square meters. The cause of the fire is suspected to be an electrical short circuit, but the exact cause is still under investigation. Videos from the scene show thick smoke billowing, with flames erupting from several windows in the roof of the building. Nearby, people were seen using hoses to spray water on the flames. Local witnesses reported that a factory on South Industrial Road in Konghua, Guangzhou, had caught fire, with the blaze spreading rapidly and causing the iron roof of the factory to collapse. A representative from Konghua District Office in Guangzhou confirmed that all personnel in the factory were quickly evacuated and that there were no casualties. The company has since suspended operations for safety review. On the afternoon of August 6, around 4:40 p.m., an explosion occurred in a two-story residential building in Niwan Village in Zhuhai City, causing the building to collapse. Surveillance footage shows the building's walls were being shattered by an apparent explosion, with the structure disintegrating into rubble and red flames visible at the scene. The entire building quickly collapsed, raising a large cloud of dust. When the dust settled, the building was reduced to a pile of debris. Local residents reported hearing a loud explosion, with some speculating it was caused by a gas cylinder, possibly more than one. Others suggested that gas cylinder explosions are frequent in the area, raising concerns about inadequate official oversight and the possibility that the cylinders might not meet safety standards. Some netizens question whether a gas cylinder could cause such a powerful explosion, speculating that other explosives might have been involved and wondering whether the incident was accidental or deliberate. That evening, local authorities reported that the building had collapsed, leaving 4 people trapped. 2 individuals have been rescued, with one sustaining minor injuries, while the other is receiving emergency treatment. The official report made no mention of an explosion, fueling further speculation. The Chinese government has a history of concealing the truth about such incidents. On August 6, a massive fire broke out at Baihang Leisure City, Shandong Province. The extent of casualties is still unclear. On the evening of August 5th, around 6 p.m., a sudden fire engulfed a factory in Shilin Town, Guangzhou Province, trapping dozens of people on the rooftop as they awaited rescue. The scene was terrifying. In the video, dozens of people can be seen trapped on the rooftop, with thick smoke billowing upwards. Fire had broken out in a factory on the 4th floor, and flames were continuously erupting. In another video, several people were seen escaping through windows and climbing down a fire ladder, including one person carrying a child, highlighting the perilous situation. Local residents reported that the fire had not yet spread to the side of the building with the escape ladder, allowing employees on the 4th and 5th floors to climb down the ladder. Because it was summer vacation, some employees had brought their children to work, hence the scene of the child being carried to safety. According to an insider, the affected building has 8 floors and houses multiple factories. The fire originated in a bag factory on the 4th floor. A survivor, Ms. Huang, who works on the 8th floor, recounted that she had finished dinner when she noticed thick smoke and realized that fire had broken out downstairs. She quickly alerted everyone to evacuate, but when they reached the 6th floor, the stairway was filled with smoke, forcing them to retreat to the rooftop. Fortunately, the fire was brought under control in time and did not spread to the upper floors. When fire trucks arrived at the scene, they simultaneously controlled the blaze and used a ladder truck to evacuate those trapped inside the building. According to Guangzhou Fire Brigade, the fire was extinguished by 9:30 p.m. with no casualties reported. On August 5th, a fire and explosion occurred at a factory in Changzhou City, Jiangsu Province, sending thick smoke into the air and causing continuous explosions. The number of casualties remains unknown. According to a local government official, the fire broke out at an environmental technology company that specializes in recycling of industrial solid waste. The fire was extinguished by around 8 a.m. on the 5th, though the smoke at the scene was still substantial. On the evening of August 5th, a high-rise residential building caught fire in a community in Ankang City, Shaanxi Province, causing flames to shoot into the sky and terrifying residents. One person reportedly fell from the building. A reporter from High-Tech Zone Emergency Management Bureau stated that the cause of the fire is still under investigation and the number of casualties is still being tallied. The fire occurred in Building 52 of the Zhoushan community in the high-tech zone of Ankang City. A resident reported hearing a sound resembling an explosion while watching TV at home. Upon going downstairs, they saw smoke billowing from a nearby building, where the crowd gathered to watch. Police and ambulances arrived shortly afterward, and some individuals were taken away by ambulance. The high-rise building that caught fire housed hundreds of residents. Witnesses confirmed that the fire forced some individuals to jump from high floors. The local management committee issued an emergency statement confirming the disaster and organizing rescue efforts, but they remained tight-lipped about the number of casualties, leading to skepticism and dissatisfaction among residents. The Emergency Management Bureau cited public opinion control as the reason for withholding further information. On the morning of August 4th, an explosion and fire occurred at a shop in Xinlong Road in Qingyuan County, Liaoning Province. According to some locals, the blast shattered the windows of nearby shops, causing minor injuries to some individuals. Video footage from the scene shows a shop on fire with thick smoke billowing out, and the shop's door and windows were blown out by the explosion, attracting onlookers. Around 4 p.m. on August 4th, a fire broke out at the Changsha Black Cat Daily Chemical Company, located in Ningxiang City, Henan Province. The blaze started in the company's warehouses number 1 and number 2, producing thick smoke and an explosion that resulted in a mushroom cloud. Reports suggest that the fire may have been caused by a solar power system on the roof, which ignited a Category C warehouse. At noon on August 1st, a factory in Yongkang, Zhejiang Province suddenly caught fire. Workers in the workshop quickly detected the fire and used fire extinguishers, hydrants, and an automatic sprinkler system to control the flames. The fire was successfully contained, and an evacuation was promptly carried out. No casualties or significant economic losses were reported. Reports indicate that a workshop supervisor, Ms. Hu, working on the 3rd floor, noticed thick smoke outside the window. Upon investigation, she discovered black smoke billowing from the 2nd floor window. Workers quickly connected hoses and used hydrants to put out the fire, successfully controlling the situation. Netizens on international social media platforms have claimed that Chinese officials often underreport the number of deaths, or keep the number of deaths at 2 to avoid classifying the incident as a major disaster, thereby protecting their careers. One netizen remarked that China's awareness of fire safety is severely lacking. Reflecting on their personal experiences in the UK and the US, they noted that office buildings, dormitories, and densely populated residential buildings are equipped with comprehensive fire doors, escape routes, smoke detectors, alarm systems, and firefighting equipment. Regular fire safety training is also mandatory. In contrast, they recalled that when they studied at Zhejiang University, The dormitory lacked any fire safety equipment, with the only measure being a caretaker confiscating electric heaters from rooms. While these fires may seem like isolated incidents, they are also emblematic of broader systemic issues. Under the authoritarian regime of the CCP, if natural disasters are accidental, then man-made disasters are the norm. Creating social catastrophes is a common phenomenon in authoritarian states. When disasters occur, the first response is to suppress information and arrest those who spread the news. As for accountability, officials at all levels fear responsibility and blame, often finding scapegoats to downplay the situation until it fades from public memory. In addition to fires in industrial buildings, a bridge collapse recently occurred in Guangzhou province. On August 8th, a netizen captured the moment when the Longting Bridge in Sansui County collapsed. The bridge's arch cracked from the top, causing it to sag, with rubble falling into the water below. Dust clouds rose as large amounts of cement and earth plunged into the river. Approximately 2 hours later, the other side of the bridge also collapsed, leaving it in ruins. Many onlookers quickly fled the scene when they saw the collapse. The person filming the event shouted for people to get away quickly. Reports indicate that the collapsed Longting Bridge, also known locally as the Sansui New Bridge, was built in 1968. The bridge was constructed entirely of bricks and earth, with no steel reinforcement. Traffic restrictions had been in place since cracks appeared on August 7th. The public has questioned whether the bridge was a shoddy project. Chinese democracy activist Yu Chunfei posted on X, expressing disbelief that the bridge had collapsed without any rain, raising suspicions of corruption and negligence during the construction and maintenance process. Even though the bridge was built in the 1960s, it should not have been deteriorated so severely under normal conditions. The collapse of the bridge is not only a failure of infrastructure, but also an indictment of the countless cases of corruption and shoddy construction under the CCP's rule. Bridges, which should symbolize safety, have now become potential hazards. This phenomenon suggests that in the next 20 to 30 years, China may become a country with numerous hidden dangers in its buildings and infrastructure. The CCP's corruption has not only squandered the nation's wealth, but also endangered the lives of its people. As time passes, more bridges, buildings, and roads are likely to become vulnerable due to accumulated corruption and shortcuts in construction, turning them into nightmares for the public. Yu Chunfei concluded that under this system, corruption is not just a matter of personal gain for corrupt officials, but a betrayal of society and the people. Public safety is threatened by shoddy construction and lax oversight, with ordinary citizens bearing the brunt of the consequences. In such a society, no matter how grand the buildings may appear, they are merely hollow shells fraught with danger. Only by exposing corruption and pursuing true fairness and transparency can future tragedies be prevented.